Now let's continue with this ongoing crusade against these disgusting dogs and their disgusting, deranged owners. Now, there are more reasons than I've listed on why I do not like dog lovers. And it's got more to do with just them being disgusting and unsanitary, along with their homes and their vehicles. You got to look at the fact that owning animals, allowing them to live in your home, in my opinion, is not natural for human beings to do. It's just not. That is exactly why, in order for them to live in our home, they have to be vaccinated on a regular basis. If not, we could die. Right? At the very least, get very sick from the infections that those dogs get. Right? So when you look at people who own animals, you got to wonder why they own them. What type of psychological pleasure do they get out of it? Now, I'm not a psychologist. I took a couple classes of psychology in college, like most people. It's associated with pretty much every major you want to take. But I'm definitely not a psychologist. I'm speaking from, a largely uneducated perspective here. But bear with me. In my opinion, as some of my subscribers pointed out, many of these dog lovers are control freaks. And they own these dogs to exercise that part of their psyche. A lot of these dog lovers and dog owners, many of them, I'm not going to say all of them, a lot of them are just dumb and nasty. But many of them can't see life without dogs because they need something to have control over. And dogs are totally dependent, so these people have control over their entire existence. And they get off on it. A lot of these types of people are extreme narcissists. When they're dealing with human beings, they have to be in control. They have to be the center of attention. If they're not the ones who are dictating the nature of the interaction between the people present, they're uncomfortable. If they're not the center of attention, they're uncomfortable. They have to be the one who's always telling stories. They're very good at talking, but not good at all listening. They can talk and talk and talk. And as soon as you let out one sentence, you can see them getting physically uncomfortable, preparing already to cut you off and to start telling another drawn out story because they don't want anyone else to have any attention other than themselves. It's not an egalitarian type thing with them. It is all about them. A lot of this has to do, in my opinion, with insecurity. I look at many of these dog owners that I've known, and these guys are very insecure. They walk around, or they feel like they need to walk around with their chest out because they're always worrying about other guys sizing them up. right? They're insecure in themselves. So they need something to deal with that. They need an outlet, some type of way to counter that feeling of insecurity. What better way than to have control over a pit bull or over some other type of big, vicious dog, so that they can walk down the street looking like they tough, when the only tough beings there are the dogs. Right? It makes them feel more manly and masculine when they can order such a vicious animal around and be in control of when and what that animal eats. So dog love itself is not just a mental disorder. Many times the people who love these dogs have other mental disorders, and they are trying to treat their mental disorders, or really act out their mental disorders, by owning the dog. And they don't mind all the disgusting nature of the dog and the disgusting things they'll have to deal with owning the dog. To them, it's an even trade, because they get to act out their insecurity, or treat their insecurity, or try to counter their insecurity, make themselves feel better about being little, about being weak, or whatever, rather than looking inside themselves and developing character, or maybe even working out and becoming athletic, looking within themselves to overcome their sense of insecurity. They got to look outside themselves. So they turn to these ugly, vicious mutts, and they get off on controlling these mutts. And a lot of times it makes their mental disorders worse, because they leave home from controlling these mutts all day. They go to work. Now they try to control everybody else in the same way they control their dogs. And if you don't let them, they get mad and they want to just go somewhere else. They don't even want to be around. Pay attention to them. A lot of times, people in a social circle will end up ignoring these types of people, because everybody sees this person is just there for attention. Don't want to listen to nobody else. And you'll have a lot of people who ignore them when they start telling their story. And then that's when they get mad and they just want to walk away. They don't even want to be around you if they can't be the center of it. If they can't be in control of what's being talked about. If they can't be in control of the whole nature of the interaction, or what everybody else is talking about, or the center of attention. Yet another reason why I do not associate with these deranged mutt lovers. When you look at a person exhibiting one obvious abnormality, like owning such a disgusting animal and letting it live in their home, rest assured there are other mental disorders that person is dealing with.